Good morning and welcome to the live today. I hope you're doing awesome today. Been a busy morning already. We are just now at 5:40. Hope you're having an awesome morning today on Friday. Let's talk a little bit about how are things going. Oh, life is full of surprises, isn't it? I feel like Mr. Rogers today. I don't know why. I feel like I'm in this really cool place. I don't know if you've ever had that. You just kind of got on my hat's backwards. I hate that when the seam gets in the front. I've got my little tag over there. I like it right there. Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing awesome today. As you start the day here on, this is the first Friday in the season of Lent. And today is a fasting Friday. I'm going to be doing one meal a day, probably multiple times, but I'm doing water fasting. But I'm going to be really attentive to my fast on Friday and Wednesday in keeping with my faith tradition in being a Methodist clergy. So welcome in on that. I want you to really think about that, because if you've not been fasting, this is important for us to really talk about. How does your body work in this way? Now, if you've been on here, you know that I talk about 5 things in particular, right? We talk about 5 things, and that's like, just use your hand is a great way to do it. I've got a logo that's a star that I love, but just put your hand up. Put your hand up right there. That's all you got to do. I'm getting it right on the screen. Ooh, it's the hand. All right. We want to watch the hand. Watch the hand. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? Those 5 questions right there for yourself, that's key. What I'm learning, and I'm learning a lot, self-reflection sucks. My wife taught me that. Self-reflection sucks. You don't self-reflect. You don't want to self-reflect. Most people, I gotta get my charge cord here from my backup light over here. You don't want to self-reflect. People do not want to come into places where they have to self-reflect. People are so convinced of what they're convinced of, they don't want to self-reflect. And it absolutely sucks. Good morning and welcome in. I am Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. Hope you're having an awesome morning today. So as you're coming in, what I was saying is that people don't want to self-reflect. And especially when it comes to your health. All right. Hey, dude, Wyatt, how are you today, man? Good morning. Good morning. Self-reflection sucks. I'm going to give you 5 questions right here. Take your hand. Take your hand. These are the 5 questions. These will change your life. Look, I'm sitting here at 54. All right. Now, I'm not as old as some, but I'm older than a lot. At 54 years old, these 5 questions will change your life. And they're simple. I'm glad to hear. Where y'all coming in from? Folks coming in, welcome in. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm also the wellness preacher. All right. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras in your supplements? What vitamins are you getting? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? I know that's my little Franken pinky right there. I don't have a tip to that pinky. That got taken off. So just a little bit. That's a whole nother life lesson right there. Down in Ohio, a lot of folks in Ohio. Where in Ohio? I was born outside of Dayton when I was back in 1971. I only lived there till I was like 3, so I don't remember anything. And then I grew up in Mississippi. I started eating gluten-free and my life improved. Yes, it would. Raina, welcome in. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, my wife did as well. We've gotten away from pretty much, I won't say we got rid of all flours, but certainly processed flours. And that's been a big thing. Anything in bags and boxes and bottles with barcodes. You got hit with a tornado last night. Yikes. Dang. Yeah, you guys are in Tornado Alley. But yes, most bread is not real bread. We have a 6-month-old, not child, cheeseburger from McDonald's. You know what it doesn't have on it? It doesn't have mold. We have 6-month-old donuts that we got. They don't have mold on them either. So when we look at what is being processed and sold to us, what we've been eating has not been food. So yeah, my wife found she was more than the gluten, it was the glycinate. I bet it was bad, Wyatt. I bet that was terrible. Tornadoes are nasty boogers. I missed one years ago just by like I was driving and it didn't hit, but I could see the storm clouds. I've been near the formation of tornadoes. I've never been in one. Um, Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's good to know. It's definitely good to know. But yeah, so how are you eating is an incredibly important thing. Now, I just did my TikTok live about that. We just did a live earlier this morning on insulin resistance, these issues right here. And when we address how we are eating, all right, this is going to be incredibly important. All right, how we eat affects so much about our health, and that's a big thing that I talk about. How are you exercising? How you move doesn't mean you're trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know that's going to get dated when he dies, right? That's going to be like so like, what are you from the 80s? Yes, I am. I am from the 80s, right? So, you guys were almost in it. Well, I'm glad that you weren't. So yeah, I'm an old guy. I am from the 80s, all right? And it was a great generation. We had great music. So there you go. You can keep it. We had great movies too, right? We had Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best, right? In the 80s and 90s. So here's the thing. We've got to know, how are you exercising? It's not about bulking up. It's about being healthy. It's about learning what the body's going to do, all right? I'm this last year, so Dr. G, my wife and I that do Healthy Together and Feeling Great, we were talking about this. In 2025, between the ages of 60 and 50, we lost 19 friends of ours, all related to insulin resistance. Starting to watch that now, and with metabolic health and not knowing. And the fact of the matter is, we are doing this all the time, and because we're attached to our medicine. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have the courage to have the conversation, I'm willing to come out here. This is not the channel for you. If you're not willing to self-reflect and ask the questions that you should be asking, like asking your doctor, how many people have you helped reverse or put diabetes type 2 in remission or cured? If you're not willing to ask that question of your doctor, this is not the channel for you. This is where you need to be doing. You need to be asking your doctor real questions. You need to be asking real questions of the people around you. When I say, who are you encouraging? That's the question. Who are your friends? Who do you surround yourself with? There's a great book that I was reading. I can't remember what it was. You become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Keep your hand up. Who are the 5 people that you are spending the most time with? You're going to become like them. Birds of a feather flock together. Odin, this country doesn't have real doctors. Well, tell me which country you're in. Tell me what country. I would love to. Let me throw that one out there. Go good. I love that one. I just took a gigantic dump. Hey, I'm glad you were able to clean out your system, Ethan. That is awesome. That is awesome. You know what? Poop is a great thing. Poop tells you a lot about what's going on with your metabolic health. I just listened to, I've got to go back and listen to it. I was just on Elon's tiny. So I guess I don't know that much about Elon. So I don't know where he's living, Odin. No, but I was just listening to a lecture from a microbiologist talking about this, about all the different things that your poop is teaching. So I'm glad that you had a good dump. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Everything is a conspiracy theory, including what merging on the freeway means and if the placenta is for the baby or Trump's hair. So I'm thinking you're in the United States of America, right? Which we got a lot of crazy stuff going on, and it is. Wow, that's some good stuff. Stolen intelligence has no consciousness, therefore furthest from God as humanly possible. which is why self-reflection is so very important. And we talk about that here. We've got to ask those questions. Like what, Ethan, or is that Wyatt? Yeah, throw that out there. So how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And how are you elevating? So we're talking about, we got a little God thrown in there. So how are you elevating? You know, when I have up here, it says Coach Reverend Ken. I go by the wellness preacher. I'm an ordained clergy in the United Methodist Church, and I've been ordained for 30 years. I've been doing ministry, and part of my ministry has now been metabolic health and helping with that. And Jesus starved, so everyone. Jesus didn't starve; he fasted. It's not. Yeah, we definitely do starving. Jesus didn't starve; he fasted. He ate. Absolutely. And today is a Friday, so I do fasting. I wish the obesity problem was a real no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer because people don't listen. And there's so much great science on it. There's so much easier. Why do you speak for Jesus? I'm an ordained clergy. I don't speak for Jesus. All right. I think you got that confused. I was called into ministry so that I might represent Jesus and that I might be faithful to following him and help people guide and show them how to listen to Jesus. And the church said, hey, we looked at what you were doing and we think that you are listening to God and that you are faithful in following him. And they said, we want you to be an ordained clergy. I didn't get to make that decision on my own. I'm not ordained because I did it to myself. What do you know about Jesus's birth style? Anything that's not found in scripture, you're going by speculation. It would have been pretty natural as far as that goes, from what we know of that day and time. It would have been pretty much standard. And it's not what we see in books, and it's not what the King Henry did, and all of that. It's not the way births were done back in that day. And it's really not particularly relevant as far as that goes. Not as far as it relates to what I do and what I live. If I'm not being excellent to the people around me, if I'm not living the golden rule, then it really won't make a little difference. I take full responsibility for my trust issues I've had since birth. I'm not quite sure what you mean as far as the Jesus style. Are you saying that you were divinely conceived? Is that what you're insinuating? Interesting. Interesting. Well, first of all, I'm going to sit there and say, without going far into detail, because we've got people in here that they're here for other things. But as far as what you're saying in Jesus style, we do not know if Jesus came feet first or not. So to sit there and do that, the life journey is that, my friend Odin. The life journey is going to be that. We are in that period. We will always be struggling. If you're not struggling, you're not living. If you're not struggling, you're not living. Part of it is that, and it is to be self-reflective. And I don't come here as somebody that hasn't had my own share. Yours is different than mine, and I'm not going to take away from anybody's struggle. What I'm going to help people is on the way. So it sounds like you've got a very focused sense of things, and I encourage you to continue the questioning and to understand. Interesting. That's an interesting take on it. Sounds like you're very convinced about some things. Interesting. This seems to be a thing for you, this the birth style. That seems to be a concern for you. Is that right? Well, it seems to me you've got a there's a lot of things that definitely are predictable and fixable. Got a, I don't sell fresh placentas. Let's be clear. When you say things like that, I don't sell those. Saying that is kind of interesting to say, because that is not something that I'm saying. That is definitely not something that I'm saying at all. So that's, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting thought and theory that you have as far as that goes. But um, interesting, interesting. Well, I appreciate your thoughts. You're going down a track that I'm not. This is not what my life is about. So I'm happy for self-reflection for people that are focused on kind of what I'm talking about, and I appreciate that you've got some things that you're reflecting on. But you know, as far as you know, what we're talking about here, you know, it can be really something that has some things that can be very confusing, and I appreciate where you're at. But you know, we're we're talking about some things that a little bit different. I think there's some probably some channels that might fit better what you're wanting to reflect on. Odin, I appreciate your thoughts. I really do. And if you could, I think we live in a world that would be happy to hear about that. I know there's a lot of people that are, and would certainly be interested to hear about it. And I'm surprised that nobody has heard from you before when it comes to this. Interesting. Well, I can't say that I have any, but I do wish you the best, my friend. I do wish you the best as far as that goes. Um, so anyway, So Odin seems to be very interested in particular things. So going back to what we were talking about. How are you on this journey? All right. Those 5 questions we're going to go back to every single time. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And how are you elevating? Now, there's different ways that we can go about doing this for sure. But the reality of this is, the reality of this is, in this, I cannot take care of this. Let's see what we're doing here. There we go. We're going to... All right. Sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry. I got blown away by a whole lot of there. I couldn't get them off. Are you still there? I'm sorry if I lost you on the God part. That was a little bit overwhelming with my app, and I couldn't. If we got lost in there, I apologize. So anyway, welcome in, folks that are coming in. I don't know who's still in the room right now. I just had somebody that was just trolling my whole feed up there, and I couldn't get away from it until I finally figured that out. This app was new to me. So Ethan, I'm sorry that if I lost you there on that, that's totally fine. And if you didn't have a chance to listen to me a little bit more, it's okay. So these are the questions that I want you to be asking. You start asking these 5 questions. Now, they're not the only ones that you can ask, but these are the best ones that I find that you can ask. The other one that's not here probably over all of this is to ask this question is, what is the wise thing to do? Now, these 5 questions, put your hand up. This is all you got to do is remember, how are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? All right? How are you being lifted up? How are you journeying in life? Now, there's certain people, Ethan, if that's you and the idea of God or the divine throws you off, then this channel is not going to be for you. If clearly a bunch of people, I mentioned that and you left, and that's okay. That's all right. It's hard for me to put this up here and not y'all realize that Coach Reverend Ken means that I'm a clergy, okay? Yes, I believe in God. Yes, I'm an ordained clergy, all right? That is the way I am. That is who I am, right? I don't get upset with you if you believe in a different way than I do. Doesn't bother me. That's totally fine. That doesn't mean that you're not a spiritual being. It doesn't mean that you're not there. And if you disagree with that, that's fine by me as well. That doesn't discount the questions that I'm asking. How are you elevating? How are you becoming a better person? All right? That's key to this. Look, you know what? My kids, one of my kids is a grown adult that's following Jesus. The other one has chosen to go a different route. I don't disown that child because of that. Hey, Lainey, how are you? I'm doing awesome. How are you? Had an interesting morning there. Had had a live one on my live today that I've been able to clear off and remove. But what I did was I raised a good person. My late wife and I raised a good child. All right. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of what she's become. Not always, but hey, you know what? She's doing good in the world, right? And that's what matters. So I want you to think about right here, that hand right there, these 5 things. All right. Oh, were you on my live? Oh, the trash pickup. Was that my Wednesday morning? That was the trash pickup the morning. Yeah, I heard the trash. We were moving, and so I had a big trash can of trash that had to get to the street. So the trash truck came by, and I had not taken the trash out, so I had to run downstairs throw the rest of the trash in, drag the trash can across the street so the trash can can pick it up at my neighbor's house. So yeah, it was totally crazy. Zuin from Holland. Oh man, welcome in. Welcome in from Holland. Oh man, yeah, it was pretty hysterical. It's not the first time. That's about the third time I've done this because I get into lives and I forget my chores sometimes. So, but I got it done. The trash is gone. Zuin, thank you so very much. I'm always excited. Just a little bit. I have been on TikTok for over a year, and TikTok started restricting me, and it was miserable. And I finally got to say, I've got to find another platform, and because when I first started on TikTok a year ago, it would send me to people all over the world, and now it's like for like the last 10 months, it wouldn't do that. I couldn't talk to anybody. It was awful. And then I started getting restrictions because I was talking about health. So I said, you know what? You don't like it? I'm leaving. What would you recommend for living in a busy area, keeping it cool in my head? I need a little bit more. Lainey, I'm moving. We're selling our home here in Anchorage. We're actually moving a little bit farther north here in Alaska. Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm so thankful that this is kind of growing. Like I said, I had somebody on here today that said, I'm so sad. You look lonely. I said, I'm not lonely. This is just how you build a channel, right? Okay, I'm not Mr. Beast yet, okay? That's not my thing. Ron Jeremy's mustache. Ron Jeremy's mustache? What? What? My friend, I have a goatee. So what would you recommend for living in a busy area, keeping it cool in my head, like keeping just your body cool? I'm curious about what you're thinking there. And Ethan, welcome back in, my friend. You said I lost you with God, and like I said, I had that other Odin dude that was just like rambling everywhere, and it took me a second on my app to figure out how to get that off. I was like, this is a new app, and it's different than TikTok, so I'm just learning what I can do to do that. So Zuin, help me give me a little more clarification. And I know it's probably kind of an English translation kind of a thing. Oh man, sorry, my throat is. I'm drinking my water. I'm fasting this morning. I'm doing a Friday fasting. Just to FYI, I pretty much, according to today's day and time, I fast every day because I don't eat 3 meals a day anymore because I don't buy into that as a nutrition coach. I'm living close to the Hege in the Netherlands, and it's a very busy area. You have always sounds and things. So are you talking about it's a lot of noise? I really like white noise machines. If you have something that kind of helps that, a white noise machine can be a real helpful thing, at least when you're in your house. Yeah. And there's a lot really, and that will help. And there's a lot of difference. And I haven't studied that fully. I'm a nutrition coach, and I look in certain areas. So with that stress, the certain frequencies that will help with stress and that noise. Thank you for asking about my wife. She's feeling much better. Her fever broke, and she's doing really well now. Still stressful. Like I said, we had 8 people come through and tour our home yesterday. I think we have 4 or 5 tours tonight, and then tomorrow I think we have another 8 people coming in to look. So it's crazy. So it's a little bit stressful in our home. One of the things I don't think I've shared with you, our little kitten, she's not really a kitten anymore, Luna, has also been stressed for like months. We had to replace the carpet in this is really personal. We had to replace the carpet in our house because she started peeing on it and she wouldn't use the litter box. So we had to she's on Prozac. So, uh, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for the ad. Um, so yeah, the you definitely need to do that. One of the great things, and I don't know what the weather's like, if you can go to areas also that's helpful for relieving that stress, if you've got parks or places where you've got grass, there's a practice called grounding, if you're not familiar with it, that you take your shoes off, and so you're able to touch the earth. And I'm just kind of studying that a little bit in dealing with stress. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get through this. Where are you right now? I'm in Anchorage, Alaska right now. Lainey, where are you at, by the way? I know we got Ethan in here. You do that a lot. Okay, good, good. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. Oh, I'm gonna need to go get some more water. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can mute this so I can like really clear my throat for a second. Hold on a second. Oh, man, this is terrible. I don't know where this came from. Oh, I don't even talk that much right now. I'm not I'm not pastoring a church currently, so I don't preach every Sunday. I'm in New Okay, right. Okay. Yeah, people coming in from everywhere. It gets confusing. I'm slowly growing my channel, so it's it's learning people from everywhere. Um, Also with stress, Zuin, one of the things about stress and anxiety too, to help your body with that. Now, I will say this is coming as a nutrition coach, is increasing your soluble fiber intake is a big part of that. And so eating good vegetables, I need to look and see in Holland what your vegetable sources are. Um, but when you increase soluble fiber, helps with stress and anxiety, because serotonin, one of those feel good hormones, is made in your gut. Most of your best foods that are in your gut are your hormones that it's with your brain. So you got a lot. So I'm going to see if I can pull up and look at Holland. We have all the greenhouses. Okay, so what we really think about is the two aspects is also going to be at increasing protein levels. So that will be the second thing. So first of all, most people don't get enough fiber, particularly soluble fiber. And then the second thing is not getting enough protein. That's what I find as a nutrition coach more than anything. In addition, I recommend too, when you look at extras, and that's my tall man right here. That one. What are your extras? Your supplements? D3, K2, and magnesium are excellent with calm and stress and anxiety. Those are important as well. Oh, ladies, well, it's good. I'm glad that you stopped by. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hey. Um, Berries are a good one as well with soluble fiber. Um, Let me see what I can find real quick. Yeah, indeed. Have fun with the ice skating. I've never done ice skating. Um, okay, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these. But so Brussels sprouts, parsnips, beets. You've got kale. Um, um, Artichokes would also be really good. Those would be awesome ones. Um, So that would be the direction that I would encourage you to look at. Those would be the vegetables to start looking into. And I said, and so berries, any of the berries would also be good as well. I just did a real quick looking into vegetables in Holland. So work on that as well. Jimmy John Sanders, my Brian farted. Your Brian. Oh my gosh. How is Brian? How is Brian after that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. I'm pretty sure I know what you meant, but there you go, man. Take care of your Brian. I hope he didn't leave a streak or anything like that. That would be terrible. Right? So just be aware of that. Make sure you check the color of that as well. If there was a streak or anything left behind, it's not good. Quick question. Does your wife ever go on live with you? Yes, she actually does. Because she wasn't feeling good the last 2 weeks, we haven't. And we've been doing, there's actually some recorded lives with her. She has one, she did a live, Gums to Guts. We had 2 weeks ago. We did a great live with a nurse. So yeah, if you go look on my channel, but we're going to start, we've talked about starting a live show, trying to figure out the best time. It'll probably be in the evening. It might be during the day. But we're going to start going live together regularly. We've kind of gotten tired of, we've gotten tired about some of the things that we have done, and we've like modeled off of what other people have done. Because when you start new to this is a totally different format for social media that we have done. I've had a fairly successful channel in real estate on YouTube, but it hasn't. Hi, Ashley. Welcome in. So glad that you're here, Ashley. Welcome. We've decided that, hey, we need to change what we do. We've been in interviews. We've done different things like that. But we're like going, you know what? We need to just do us. So I appreciate you asking. Yes, we are going to be on there. Am I okay? Actually, I'm doing awesome. I really am. I don't know what it is in my throat this morning. Something really got me, and my throat is usually really strong. I've been a pastor for 30 years, so I'm used to public speaking and talking all the time. For some reason, this morning I've woken up and it's been like, so I know it sounds really bad, but normally if you're on my lives, anybody will tell you, no, it's just a scratchy throat, but it's not like a sick, scratchy throat. It's really weird. I did have, so this is going to sound really bad, but I'm going to tell you how I did it. So one of the things that I teach as a nutrition coach is food freedom. I don't do weird diets. And I said, so when we talk about how are you eating, all right, I talk about meal sequencing, eating in the right meal order, the right foods, and I talk about intermittent fasting. Those are the two big things, and we talk about that. So, but it's also saying food freedom, all right? So last night, when we do meal sequencing, we do fiber, fats, and proteins. Now, you don't have to just like be stuck in it. It's not a legalistic thing. The key is starting with fiber. So I always will take fiber. This is the fiber matrix that I use called Balance, all right? And this is a blend of plant fibers. When you actually mix this up, it's 4 grams of fiber in dry form, but then when it's mixed, it becomes about 28 grams of fiber. So it gets really close to that 30 grams. So I'm taking 2 of these typically every day for fiber to help because of my diabetes. I was just on your channel watching your shorts. Oh, you were checking those out. Okay, good deal. Well, go check out my videos and lives. That's where my long form stuff is. Actually, most of it we've been done lives. So make sure you look in all of my lives. And there's a whole bunch of them that are science that you'll see my wife on. I'm going to have to reorganize all of that. Once we start going live together, I'm going to have a whole different Coach Ken and Dr. G, right? Or Dr. G and Coach Ken. I don't know. She looks better than I do. So it's just my opinion. So I had about 4 cupcakes last night. Now, before you pass judgment, keep in mind, I'm a nutrition coach. I teach people how to eat and enjoy that. So I had fiber, and then I had a sandwich that was a French dip, so it was good proteins, all right? And so there we go. There we go. So I could enjoy the carbohydrates because I put those at the end of the meal. I didn't put them at the end of this. Well, I appreciate that, Zuin. I appreciate that. I appreciate that YouTube allows people to say whatever they want. And for me, the thing I've learned about social media is when you start doing this, you have to find your people. I know people will get on here and say, there's not a lot of people. We need to get more people on there. Well, that's going to be part of y'all sharing this. Part of it is that if you like my lives, if you like my channel, if you like my content, right, then we've got to share that. And until the algorithm starts to hit that these are the people that are here, even if you guys are all over, like I said, my target is really Gen Xers. So that's really people like in their mid 40s to 60. That's a Gen Xer that are dealing with metabolic health. That's who I really want to reach. My people, in essence, my friends, they're not listening. They're stubborn. Right? People are the best advertisers. So it's finding the people that want to deal with it. Like I said, for me, it's people that want to get healthy. So you can be anywhere on that kind of that range. For me too, I can't sit here and do this all day, unfortunately. But what I can do is in the time that I'm here, condense down what I say and then be available. I want you to know who I am. As a coach, I want you to know that I'm a real person. What good is it for me to be a coach and to talk about life if I'm not here? Sir, are you licensed? I have nutrition certification. I've completed my certification class, middle classy, with nutrition coaching. You don't have to have a license. You do. I got certified. Now, people will go along and say, "Oh, I don't need that." Well, I personally feel that you do. If you're going to say that you have a title, you need to have that. My reverend, I'm ordained in the United Methodist Church. I have a master's degree, but I was ordained by the United Methodist Church as an ordained clergy as well. Licensing and certifications are important to me. That's something that I value. I'm married. My wife, who does the channel with me, we were talking about her, Dr. G, is a board certified dentist. She's been a dentist for over 30 years and is the chief odontologist for the state of Alaska. So we keep our licenses, we keep our certifications, we keep those current, and we stay up to date. Does that help you, middle classy? And I did my certification as a nutrition coach through a program called CPD. RS reactor. Okay, you're dealing with acid reflux, and it pretty much is ruining my life. You know what? I concur. I've been on that journey as well. Where do you buy a real 6'5" Cowboy King? Comrade Cat, I'm not tracking with you. You may want to try Facebook Marketplace. Struggling with acid reflux. RS reactor. How long have you been dealing with it? Give me, are you taking medications for that? Are you on a prescription? I struggled with acid reflux and GERD for 20 years before I was able to reverse that and get headed in the right direction. So that's a big thing. I healed my mental illness with a little bit of crystal meth. Okay. Lant, we're going to say, not acceptable. That's not how we do that. Pantoprazole, it's been about 6 years. Okay. A proton pump inhibitor. As soon as you need to talk with your doctor about that. The more you're on a proton pump inhibitor, which any of the prazols are that increases your chances of type 2 diabetes. Oh gosh, golly Pete. Okay. So I have a couple of other nutritionists that I follow. You look like a. I don't think you think, because it would be really weird. Because yeah, not working. So thank you. I appreciate that. I like my goatee. I have a really good beard balm that I use. That way I smell good and it keeps in place. So what the first thing I'm going to sit there and recommend is, in part for me, we've got to work on that gut microbiome. And a big part of that is increasing the fiber intake. It's not what people think. Part of the problem is with acid reflux is your gut. A couple things are probably happening. And I won't say that everything, but a couple things are happening. Hey, Iron Man fan, glad that you found me back again. You want to heal that. Your stomach acid has gotten into an alkaline state. That's because the bad bacteria has increased so much. So you want to start on increasing good fiber. I will tell you that the fiber that I started using was this one. Right out of the gate. This has been the key for me on this journey of helping to heal that acid reflux. This is a blend of 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers. And when I started this, I was taking 60 milligrams of omeprazole every single day. Type 2 diabetic, which is why I started on the protocol that I do. And so I've been able to get off the omeprazole. My gut still is healing. It's been 20 years. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2000. Right after that, I was on medications for depression, migraines, and all of that led to the gut issues. Basically, was killing off the good microbiome. So that's going to be a huge thing, getting soluble fibers. So plants as well. You've got sleep issues. We can talk a little bit more about that. Hello, first time live in your streaming. Hi, Jacob. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here for the first time. Make sure that y'all subscribe. I'm Coach Ken. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. We've had some interesting conversations today. So yeah, we really want to focus on that, and we want to increase protein. Good animal protein would be really good. Absolutely. Well, that's what I'm here for. Thank you for the subscribe. Absolutely. I have like ADHD and sleep issues. Iron Man says ADHD and sleep issues. Okay. Again, there's going to be gut issues that are taken, particularly with ADHD. We want to work on the gut. And I'm going to say that you're going to hear when you're on my live, it has so much to do with your gut microbiome and nutrition. 5 questions. I'm going to go back to this all the time. How are you eating? How are you exercising? What are your extras, your supplements? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? All right. This is cool. So we want to work on that gut microbiome. Mental issues are often here. Most of your hormones that affect your brain are done in your gut. So we want to make sure we get to an acid base in the gut. So you're making the acid that your body needs, and you're feeding your good gut microbiome, increasing those serotonin levels. That's going to help. And those sleep issues is going to help as well. Good heavy protein. What you want to do is you want to stop eating. No midnight snacking. All right. You want to stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. And I recommend having a good dinner with heavy, good protein. Fiber. I always teach people very basic meal order: fiber, fats, and proteins. 30 grams of during the day. And when you have a meal, you want to make sure that you eat until you're full. And you want to focus on that. Those simple carbohydrates: breads, rice, pastas, corn, potatoes. Keep them at the end of the meal. You don't get to do dessert until you eat all that other good stuff. Okay. Let's see. Where am I from? I am up in Anchorage, Alaska, and I had piles. I'm not sure what you mean by piles. I'm not sure. You have social anxiety. Dracula, good to see you. Mohit, yeah, I can. You're dealing with anxiety, and advice, and you're a teenager. Absolutely, absolutely. So here's what I'm going to recommend. Now, again, anxiety, whether it's social or not. If you're dealing with anxiety, we're dealing with an imbalance in our gut. And it's always, don't forget this again. So when I talk about how are you encouraging, this is what you want to learn something. I want you to take what I learned. I want you to go do some research. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Google, but make sure you look at the bibliographies. All right. Your hormones that are affecting your anxiety, over 80% of them are formed in your gut. So when your gut is off, it's affecting up here. And you're going to hear me. It's not hard. This is what is hard. I feel like I'm right with people. Is people want to argue about this, and it's okay. It's all right. You can have your different opinion. But when the gut is healed and healthy, you're going to see improvements. Fibers and proteins are going to do so much better for your mental health. So get good soluble fiber. When you increase soluble fiber by 10 grams, you're going to lower your struggles with anxieties and depression. And so you want to make sure you're increasing those fiber levels. And then with that protein, the amino acids like tryptophan, that's going to help you to relax and to feel good, will be really good. So we always talk about going and particularly here in the U.S., eating turkey has tryptophan in it. All right, that is one of those things. Makes me go to sleep. Yeah, it makes you relaxed, and so that would be a really important thing to do. GS tattoo. No, you call names. Oh, hard to please guy. Oh, you call names. You have no argument, so you call names. Well, I can't say I have a cure for schizophrenia. And that's all right. If you don't have any of those, not everybody does. And so if you're in that place, that's awesome. Have you any cures for schizophrenia? Well, one of the things that we learned years ago, schizophrenia is being on and using a keto diet. That was the early one in the early part of the 20th century, late 19th century, was looking at the ketogenic diet as something that was incredibly helpful for people that were struggling with schizophrenia. So looking into a keto diet, basically low carb. And if you're eating correctly, if you're following, like I said, and this is important, Ohio State, UCLA, the CDC, all of them talk about this meal order or meal sequencing. Really kind of what your grandparents, at least mine did. Eat your veggies first is so real important, right? Where did you get your degree from? Which one? I put my time and we're like, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right, thank you for passing through. Welcome in, folks. I'm Coach Ken, the Wellness Preacher. I'm up in Anchorage, Alaska. Welcome in. Let me know where you're coming in from, and make sure that you like and subscribe. So yeah, a keto diet, keto, Keto. All right, is the diet that we look at. There's a lot of great information. I do coach people on that now, and help people with that. We have a coaching program that we do to help people. My wife, Dr. G, GSU Wellness Preacher, Single Mother Energy Sir. I'm not following that second part. GS Tattoo. Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to clear my throat. My throat was tired today. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. You would. And make sure you subscribe, and don't hesitate to message me. My email and contact information is over on my page. I know a lot of people come through here and don't always go to the page, and we have a lot of videos that are there. We definitely, but yes, definitely look into a keto diet. Basically, if you'll start with what I just shared with you, you want to look at, and I did a video yesterday about it. We want to look at meal order. So we want to start with fiber, fats, proteins. During the day, this is for the whole day, not at a meal, 30 grams of fiber, 60 grams of fats, and 90 grams of protein. And the simple carbohydrates, breads, rice, pastas, corn, and potatoes, kind of like what we all start our meals with, French fries, bread, chips, all that we want to limit and put to the end of the meal. We want to fill up and be satiated on fiber, fats, and proteins, put the other at the end of the meal. Can you spell it? Keto. Keto. I have skinny fat. Help. Ashley, hello there. Ashley Gunner, I have skinny fat. Be more specific. Are you dealing with insulin resistance and diabetes? When you say you have skinny fat. Keto, yes, you would. That is exactly it. Are you seeing a doctor about that? That is exactly how you spell it. What exactly are you wanting help with? I can't do keto. All right, so what is your goal? You want a flat stomach. Okay. So tell me a little bit more. High triglycerides, but skinny fat still there. So it's primarily you're holding on in the midsection is where you got that. Blood sugar levels, any other signs? Because typically skinny fat, you're dealing with some level of insulin resistance. There's other signs that you're probably dealing with there. Right? You're dealing, okay. So here's where I'm gonna coach you a little bit. So I'm not gonna tell you to do keto. This is gonna be totally radical. What I am gonna encourage you to think about is, have you ever done intermittent fasting? I do both, and I don't do keto either, by the way. I have food freedom. Intermittent fasting is the key that I do. Dr. G and I, when we were diagnosed with diabetes, all right, this is what we started on. We started using the Feel Great system. Now, part of that is my wife is a doctor. So you want to do that consistently. And the way that we'll do that is at least start with, first meal is lunch for me. Okay, perfect. When is the last meal? And do you snack at all during the day? Those would be the two that And I didn't miss you. Who cares? Dealing with anemia. Last meal is 10 p.m. First meal is 2 p.m. Okay. So, you're making me do some math there. So we're talking about an 8 hour. So you're doing about a 16 and 8. Okay. When do you have that popcorn? Tell me you don't do that after dinner. You have that like midday. That trail mix is probably what's getting you. Popcorn can be. I do popcorn as well. I'm a geek about popcorn. Popcorn has good fiber. Um, so, um, if only it was so easy, ASDF, it would be so much nicer if that worked out for everybody. But it's one of the things that we need to be doing. But if we're not eating correctly, that's not how it works. If we're insulin resistant, we have to look at how we're eating and what we're doing. But if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I would recommend you start your own live and you go help that. And I would encourage you to get some certification and get some education to go talk to people. Sports blood. Hey, those are those are awesome. Those are awesome. If you would start to walk after you eat, if you would just walk for 10 or 15 minutes, That'll be an important thing as well. Um, sorry, I should have muted that. So so that intermittent fasting, we want to make sure that, see where we're at. Sorry, I got discouraged or got distracted for a second. So you want to be consistent with that. Well, like I said, with the popcorn, well, I'm going to sit there. You're going to have to, I don't think so. No, last time I looked, it's still my face. Razor eater. So the thing is, you've got to be serious about it. Yeah, we, and I'm not saying that you're not. It's that really looking at, yes, it is. Bad digestion, bad gut health is a big part of the first steps to disease. That's exactly what we're talking about here. So I'm going to, what's going into those carbohydrates. And I know, as you said, peace to you, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. We want to look at, when we're eating, fiber, fats, and proteins. All of those things that are carbohydrates. Iron Man, good to see you, my friend. What any questions you got? All right. When you're eating that popcorn and the trail mix before your meal, you're getting that before fiber. And when you're doing that, your insulin is jumping up. Your blood sugar increases, and with that is your insulin. What we need to be doing is tapping into the glucagon. When you eat like that, that's what's spiking up your blood. That's where it is right there. If you're eating before your meal and you're having that snack, you're keeping the insulin. Your pancreas makes two hormones that are related here. They do the opposite thing. It makes insulin and it makes glucagon. Insulin shoves the sugar into the cells for storage, all right? The other part is glucagon is what pulls it out. Glucagon is going to pull it out. All right? Make sure if you're doing, as an exercise for that too, I would recommend two things, is to do crunches. Just start, keep it simple. Crunches are a great way that doesn't strain, but work the opposite in your lower back. So do your crunches, but make sure you flip over, and then you do, I forgot what they're called, but basically you become like a seal, all right? And you basically lift up your front and your legs at the same time, so you're working your lower back. Just like you're crunching here, you're basically stretching on the other sides. You know what? It's not easy to do, student. I'm not arguing with you that abs are made in the kitchen, but it is not easy to do. And it's not just a calorie deficit. I'm on a calorie deficit. See, that's what I'm talking about. You're talking about hormones. And when you're not addressing the hormones, you're not addressing it. This is the thing with insulin resistance. Insulin resistance and intermittent fasting lowers your insulin levels greater than calorie restrictions. And if you think it's all about calorie restrictions, it's not realizing where the hormones play into this. Now, you can do calorie restrictions, but mentally, for most people, we can't do it consistently. If you're great, that's fine. But when 93% of the population is metabolically unhealthy, we've learned people can't do that. It's a miserable way to live. I couldn't live that way. I couldn't live that way. Here, you're looking at me now. Let me throw this one out there to you. So I'm going to take this one down. So there we go. So this was me and Dr. G when we were diagnosed with diabetes. Oh, I've done calorie restrictions. I've done that. My wife has done so many diets, it's not even funny. She's a doctor. So we done that. That's cute. But it doesn't sustain for most people, particularly in your 50s, right? And the way we did it is what we teach right here. What? You could have the biggest abdominal abs wall in the world if you have just a little bit of fat. They won't. But that's not healthy. You're not listening. And you're not listening to what's being said. I get you've got your own opinion. And the thing is, if you want to come in here and if that's your way, I recommend you start your own channel. Do your thing. I still hate my ADHD. I understand that. Niponega, increase your protein levels. Increase your protein levels. And I want to do it in a healthy way. All right. You want to be getting about 1 gram of protein, or 1 to 1.3 grams of protein per your goal weight. So what do you want to weigh? You want to increase your protein levels to that amount. That's the healthy way to do it. And certainly carbs can do that. Your body, if you want to trigger that way, you can do that too. All right. Just make sure you put the carbs at the end of the meal. You don't want to gain weight to the neglect of your metabolic health. So, we're not going to carb overload in the front end of that. You can definitely do the carbs, the breads, the rice, the pastas to gain weight, put them at the end, but prioritize protein. That's the best way to gain weight. And I understand, Ironman, to hate the ADHD. That's going to be part of the learning. Like I said, to focus on the gut, to focus on that fiber and protein will be a big part for helping with ADHD. I learned that exercising, being consistent with, and it doesn't have to be a lot, a good high-intensity interval training program will help to spin out. I do bike. That's always been my best. Really kind of throws that out there and gets it going and moves it in that direction to get some of that energy off so my mind can focus. But the more we do that, it's better. 10 to 50 pounds. I'm currently around 130, and I'm 6'1". Gotcha. Yep. That's what you want to do. You want to increase those protein levels. I know it sounds kind of weird. Toxic Marshall, do you want to learn martial art? Martial art or martial arts? No, I don't. Really neither one, but I appreciate the offer. I do. Just not where I'm at right now. So that's a huge part of it. So going back to these are the 5 questions I want you to think about. How are you eating, which we've talked a lot about. How are you exercising, which we've done. Key to that is movement. Yeah, no, but I appreciate it, Toxic Marshall. Hey, absolutely. No, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Dr. G and I were talking about, I'm trying to think if we're going to get on. I think we're going to try to get on this weekend. We're looking for a regular time to get on. So, but yeah, I want you, if you're going to gain weight, and something, either way, we want to do it healthy. And we do this, we coach it natural. So what are your extras? So that's the third one. Your tall man right here. How are your extras? What are the minerals? What are you eating? What are you doing correctly? All right. So that's a huge part of it. Now, this is one of the big things for me, is not realizing that. All right. When we were diagnosed with diabetes, everything that I teach on here with eating and exercise will help. See, when you take this and you go here, how are you eating? How are you exercising? That's your okay right there. You do those things. The hard part is the consistency. Like we were talking about, just be in a calorie restrictive state. That's not easy for people to do. In fact, it's mentally draining, and simply counting calories does not help the hormones in the brain. If all you do is calorie restriction, well, sheesh, man, I can restrict my calories and eliminate the proteins and the fats and just eat things in bags and boxes and bottles with barcodes. But I can tell you what's going to happen to my anxiety and depression. It's going to go through the roof. It's not going to be sustainable. And that's why people crash. Ironman, you missed that part of it. Yeah, we were talking about stress earlier. So again, as far as life goes with stress, number one right here, this thing that we're watching right here, before you go to bed, turn this off for about 1 to 2 hours. Prioritize sleep. This has got to go off. Get a book. Don't watch TV. Listen to some music. All right. Get a white noise machine. You need to get sleep. All right. In addition to that, your body coping with stress needs to be releasing the right hormones. All right. That's going to be important. So proteins and fiber, the way that I teach in here, fiber, fats, and protein, right? That's going to be key. That's what we want to do. Now, here's the thing. What about those extras? All right, let me hit a couple things. Magnesium. That would be another one. So magnesium is something most all of us are deficient in. I do a magnesium citrate in a form called Calm. I get it at Costco. I love it because it mixes. I pretty much do everything liquid based. So I drink everything so it goes right into my gut. All right. It goes right into absorption. It's absorbed faster that way. I supplement with fiber every day. This is the fiber that I use along with Unimate. This is called Balance. This is called Unimate. And then I also make sure I get D3. Those people look the same because they are. Oh, Lex, Superman. Yes. Here, let me blow that up for you a second. So maybe they are the same people. They're the same people that are, oh no, it went away. I'll pull it back up again. So let's see if I can get it won't expand. Oh, there we go. Those are the same people. You are so very observant. That's awesome, right? That was us when we were diagnosed with diabetes, overweight, dealing with all of the issues of insulin resistance that came along with that. This was us in 2025. Both of us down. I'm down 50 pounds. My wife's down 67 pounds. Reversed our diabetes, got our blood sugar under control, got off medications. Key to that was doing Unimate and Balance and everything that I teach here. This made it a no-brainer to make sure we got what we needed into our diet. And this is where we do our coaching and helping people one-on-one with that. So, yeah, no, it's not your bad. You're good. You're good, man. You are absolutely good. I'm going to keep that up there. Maybe it'll let me shrink it. It won't. There we go. Funky Cold Medina. Yes, I am from this 80s and 90s. All right, there we go. All right, sorry. No, don't worry about it. It's all good. I'm sorry if I was a little too sarcastic. I get that. God, Dexter, looks like gout. What it looks like gout. How do you feel about what? What is that? Nay, gross. Are you trying to get me to say something on screen that I probably am going to regret? How do you feel about gout? Oh, Antique Keeper, gout sucks. Yeah, yes. Jeffrey Lewis, we're not talking about that here. How do you feel about gout? I think it sucks. When I moved to Alaska, I kind of figured that, no, but gout is terrible. So that uric acid, and people don't understand, a lot about what it is what the difference between 2024 and gout did that. Oh, no. Actually, that's where I reversed between 2024 and 2025. I reversed my gout. I got rid of gout. And the way that I did that was in cleansing the liver. The liver is where that uric acid builds up. And so I'm an old fan. Well, thank you, MTM. I didn't know I had any old fans on here, but I'm so glad. And I'm so glad to have Morocco in the house. There's a win. I love this. We're getting people from all over the world. Totally awesome. So the difference between, did gout do that? No, this was reversing insulin resistance. This was reversing diabetes. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So the uric acid. So part of it is the buildup in the liver. When I started suffering with gout, and that was miserable. First time, was it 2022? And so the chlorogenic acid in Unimate, Yerba Mate is huge in helping the liver. That's what chlorogenic acid does. And there's 375 times that's in here. So by cleansing the liver with the Unimate, I had one more bout of gout, and then after that it was gone because it clears it out. Yes, alcohol can also cause gout. Absolutely. Certain foods can cause gout. But ultimately, the thing about that is it was kind of like my migraines. So I suffered with migraines, KS. But here's the problem. It had to do more with vascular issues. That alcohol is a carbohydrate. And that carbohydrate increase, that liquid carbohydrate, is becoming sugar in the body, and that uric acid and that buildup is where that problem comes in. So we look at the root cause is looking at those high insulin levels, and what we want to do is make sure the body is actually, the liver is taking time to produce glucagon, and it's going to do that when we're not eating all the time and we're not consuming the other. We'll not be doing a backflip. You do a backflip on your channel. So yeah, good point though. But you bring up a great one. So because people talk about reversing insulin resistance, reversing diabetes, it's so very important that on this journey that we've got to reverse that. So that's that extra. So these are the extras that we do. And if you're interested in this, if you want to know more, that's what this is all about, is reversing insulin resistance. With that is getting our health. That's weird. There's a ghost in the house. The door is moving on its own. Weird. Who are you encouraging? Who are you encouraging is number 5, right? Birds of a feather. I'm thinking I got a kitty cat walking around outside. Did anybody tell you? No, I've not been told I look like SpongeBob. Wow. Do you think they'll give me my own TV show? That would be cool. How about that? Wow. No, I haven't been told. I've been told I look like Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Right? But no, I haven't been told I look like SpongeBob. So, who are you surrounding yourself? Who are you encouraging, right? You're going to be like the 5 people you spend the most time around. So you need to make sure you're watching who you're flocking with. The 5th one is, how are you elevating? So how are you lifting up your spirit, your soul? How are you making yourself better in your life? Now, for me, the spirituality is a big part of that. As a clergy, as a pastor, the season of Lent is an important time for me. This is a fasting Friday, so we're going to be, my wife is Roman Catholic, so we won't be having any, we're only going to be having fish as our protein today. So no red meats or anything like that. And that's for spiritual, so that we can do that. So those are the 5 things that we talk about. How are we eating? How are we exercising? What are your extras? Who are you encouraging? And how are you elevating? Those 5 questions, I'm going to ask you the big one. What is the wise thing to do? What is the wise thing to do is the key part here. What's the wise thing to do? It's to ask these 5 questions. All right? It is to self-reflect. Hardest thing in the world you're going to have to do is not being a sarcastic jerk to people, but to actually self-reflect. To take the time to delve into what's going on here in your soul, right? That's the hard part. That's the hard part about life. And I can say that at 50, you're not going to say something's going to hurt my feelings. The great part about this, I can sit there, right? Protect your inner peace and follow your own way. And for me, that's following God and how I understand the divine. And I honor those that are seeking after that. Yep, that inner peace and your way. For me, I hear that in God's voice. I hear that in Jesus. Absolutely. Iron Man fan. Yes, sir. You have a question. Throw it out there. And this has been a great live. I've got to say, I've been on for about 3 3 weeks of doing this. This has been the best live. Y'all have been awesome. Y'all have been absolutely great. And I hope that you guys have subscribed because I come on here this time about every day. I'm also Catholic. Oh, wonderful, KS. I'm a Metho-Catholic. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm Methodist Catholic. I love worshiping in the Catholic Church. My wife is Roman Catholic. Do you think I'm annoying by asking the same question because of my ADHD? No, Iron Man, I don't think you're annoying at all. I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you keep asking it because somebody else might be coming into this live dealing with the same thing. And I want to be, if you ask that question, somebody else may not be comfortable asking the question. Because you did, I can talk about it. So you're helping people by doing that. And if it's encouraging you to be here, if being a part of my life is helping with that ADHD, then I'm glad that you're here. Does that sound good to you? Does that work for you? I swear there's something. Greeting from London. Ryan, good day to you. Yeah, man, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're making community here, right? And doing it. Ryan Lewis, I've got, that is one of the places I cannot wait to go. I want to get to London. That is something I look forward to one day. That is on my bucket list. I've been to other places around the world, and amazingly, I've not been to London. To me, that would be like the easiest place for me to get to. I do have a certification in life coaching. I do. Ryan, no, ADHD isn't. Insulin resistance is my typical topic. But I talk about, I'm 50. I'm game for everything. But insulin resistance, because it is the root cause of so many things, I help people on that journey. But I talk about who we are as a whole person. Because if we're going to be talking about the hormones and mental, now we're talking about ADHD. But I'm also the wellness preacher because I'm ordained. And you're over in London, which you probably may know a little bit about the history of the Methodist. I'm a United Methodist clergy. I would love to go. Let's see. Phantom Boy FR, UNC, is that University of North Carolina, or are you calling me uncle? Iron Man fan, you grew up in South Africa. My wife was in South Africa this last summer. I was not able to go because we have a zoo of animals in our home, so I needed to stay home, and I worked. So, but she had a great time. Lid Phil, SpongeBob, no, but okay. I can tell you why I answered in my fruit bowl, because it's real food. That's the problem. Yes, sir. So you just pretty much did a good job of summing up kind of what I talk about. There you go. And that for me is John Wesley was all about the whole person. There was nobody probably more well-read in his lifetime, nobody more attentive to nutrition and health in his lifetime, and certainly the Methodist revival in England in his lifetime kept England from having another civil war in the country immediately following the American Revolution. So that was a pretty significant impact that he had. You grew up in South Africa and moved to South Korea. Wow, that's some pretty amazing places. Well, folks, I am at time for today at 7 o'clock. I've got puppy dogs and chores that need to be done, and I don't have a trash can to be taken out today like I did on Wednesday. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. Greetings from Austria. KS, awesome. So glad. I love this live has been all over the world. And so I welcome you in here in Anchorage, Alaska. The last frontier is what we call it. So I hope that everybody took time to subscribe. I will be back on probably tomorrow. It'll be a quick one because we got to get out of the house to show our home. I'm from Agartha. Where is that? You're throwing a new one out to me. I don't know where that was. Oh, you already subscribed. Good, good. Well, I know some people may not have. They didn't maybe have taken time. So glad that you did. I just want to have that invite. And I need to do that because people come in from all over. So I want people to know they are welcome here. And if they want to keep following, as we will be going live. And like I said, and just so y'all know, when we go live with my wife, I want people to be respectful. When Dr. G comes on here, we're going to be talking hard about insulin resistance. Now, we're going to switch from probably being vertical to being horizontal. So that doesn't normally show up on this live format. There's a kitty cat. My little Luna just snuck in here. So go get the day, make it golden, go be excellent to one another, and go be excellent to yourself. Guys, thank y'all so much for being part of the live today. Y'all having an awesome, awesome, awesome day.